beginning is playing live, but it's clearly not. So I guess I'll have to
Hello,
introduce.
everybody.
Oh,
Welcome to the Right or Die Show. I'm your host, Randi-lee. On the show, we interview other writers and we talk about mental health from their personal journeys. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead, do that now so that you never miss an episode.
well, there we go. It wanted to pretend like it wasn't going to play, and then it just did. So, yay, technology. Woo! One day, I'm going to make a new intro. It's on my to-do list. You want to know how long it's been on my to-do list? At least a year.
Oh,
So it'll get to done eventually, but not anytime soon. Um, all right. So with us today, even though I've decided I don't like him much, and it's only because he's warm and I'm cold, we have Matt Johnson. Hello, how are you?
hello. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry to insult your weather there.
Right? You need to send me sunshine, just like
I will do my
yeah.
best.
We'll play switchies. You can have the cold for a little bit, just a little bit. Well, I just 2 weeks ago, yeah, 2 weeks ago, I was in Cuba, and it was warm and beautiful, and I loved it. And then I came home, and I don't like it anymore. So let's find out about you in all of your warmness. Tell us a little bit about who Matt is.
Hi, I'm Matt Johnson. I am a hypnotist and NLP coach. About 10 years ago, I got a severe brain injury. I was out hiking with my kids at a place called Point Loma Tide Pools here in San Diego, and I slipped and landed at the back of my head on a slab of solid rock. I hit so hard my brain rebounded, hit the top of my skull, and I twisted the part above my eyes, damaged my optic nerve. I have no words to describe the pain that I was in. If you've ever been zapped by electricity and felt that intense, like pins and needles type feeling, that's what was going on in my head.
Oh my
For the
gosh.
next several years, I was so sensitive to light and sound, I couldn't even be in a room with the lights on. It's just too painful. So I was not able to get out and enjoy this beautiful, weather that we have. So I had a room in my house that I nicknamed my dungeon, had black hefty bags taped up over the windows, and I lived in self-imposed solitary confinement for a while. And I started out going the medical route. I had four different neurologists. The first one told me there's nothing I can do for you,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then tries to schedule me for a follow up. I'm like, why am I going to come back if there's nothing you can do for me? I didn't say
That
that, but
sounds
it just
that sounds
didn't make any
appropriate.
sense to
Yeah.
me why I would
Yeah.
come back. But so neuro number two gave me a pill that kind of took the edge off the pain a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is progress. Can you give me something to help me sleep? Because I was going through these brutal, just downward spirals where the pain made it hard to sleep, which made the pain worse, and it was not fun.
Yeah.
And so, because of my condition, he didn't want to give me the normal stuff. So he said, "No, there's nothing I can do for you." So on to neuro number three,
Oh my
and right
gosh.
away,
Okay. So hold on.
okay, go ahead.
Because you're in the States, I have a
Uh huh.
question to ask.
Sure.
Because up here in Canada, it is so much fun finding a doctor. Um,
Oh yes, so I've heard. Yes.
and then if it's a specialist, good luck. And on that note, once you have seen one, it's not so easy to see another. Like it's
Yeah.
very difficult to get a second or third opinion.
Yeah.
How how easy or hard was it for you to see like more than one?
It depends. This was definitely not cheap, but I had good insurance, so it was fairly easy for me to get around and see different
Okay.
doctors. In the States, if you can afford it, our medical system is really good. If you can't afford it, then it's good luck.
Well, ours
But
isn't good either way, so there you go. I
so
would
I've
rather pay
heard.
for it to
I'm
get good
sorry.
instead
Yeah,
of just having super bad. But
I have a
okay, well that's good. That's good for
I
you.
have a friend in Ontario who's got all kinds of health issues, and I've heard the horror stories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you are a
yeah,
fairly healthy person, it works
mhm,
fine for you
yeah,
because you only need a regular checkup. If you have issues, it is the worst. It's awful. It's horrible. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
digress.
I've heard the same thing. Yeah. The States, it's, we've got some really talented doctors here, but
Really?
it's very hit or miss. Some really know their stuff and the others, it's hard to differentiate until you actually get in the office and find, all right,
Okay.
who are
Yeah.
you here?
Yeah.
It's one of
Okay.
those things that's, I think because it's one of those professions that kids are told, oh, you're so smart, you should be a doctor.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah.
and that's fine if that's what the kid likes to do. But if the kid feels pressured, oh, I have to be a doctor, mom and dad, said so,
Yeah.
then
Then
you,
it's
you get through med school and all that, and then you stop and you don't geek out on the latest science and all that. And you know
Geek
what I
out, I
mean?
like that.
So, you're not going to be as, on point as somebody who, just devours that stuff. So,
Right, which, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, my personal opinion, but
Yeah, no, I
anyway.
fully agree. It's now our opinion together.
All right, we share it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I went on to neuro number three, who definitely fit in that latter category. She was very good, and
Oh,
she
good.
right away she says, "Oh yeah, let me give you amitriptyline," and it
Okay.
worked. It fixed my sleeping issues, and so
Oh, yay!
the I am beyond grateful to all my doctors. The only reason I tell that story is how many people were stopped with that first one. You know
Yes,
what
and
I'm
that's why
saying?
I had to ask.
Yeah.
And I mean, like we talked about, Canada is so very different to get another one. So, I have, well, I guess eventually they diagnosed me with fibromyalgia and then like some pretty
Oh,
nasty arthritis in my hips or whatever. Um, but trying to get to that doctor and get to that answer, it
yeah.
was very difficult. It was, a stop sign or I can't do anything. I can't find the reason. I don't know. My family doctor actually goes, "Well, I'm just a family doctor. What do you want me to do?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I don't want to have pain every single day. Thanks."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was fine.
Grease the skids for me. Help me find somebody who can help me.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Literally crying on the phone with him to be
Oh
like, I
man.
don't know, but I need help. So he did refer me to a pain clinic. So they shoot me up with lots of good drugs. Actually,
Uh,
they don't shoot me up with drugs anymore. Now it is that they burn the nerves away, so I can't
oh
feel it.
wow.
Does it solve the problem? No, because once we have a band-aid solution, we stop looking,
Right.
obviously. But does it make my life more livable? Hell yes.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, I go on
Definitely.
Thursday, and I'm looking forward to big giant needles in
Okay.
my spine. Woo!
You
But
might like the next part of my story. I have something that might help you, by the way. Let me, we can talk after
oh yeah, we're gonna
offline,
we're
but
gonna keep going, obviously. But
okay. But
it's those things that it's very hard. But the point of me sharing my side is don't stop because. I go to the
yes,
physio and I go to the chiropractor, I go to the naturopath, and they have helped extensively find other
all in different
causes because
ways.
all in different ways because
Yeah.
your body moves in different ways. You need to be able to adjust and do certain exercises to help, or naturopath side, certain vitamins help, vitamins and
Yes.
stuff. So I mean there's lots of help out there, and I know you're going to talk about something completely different, which is fantastic. But the point of my ramblings is that there are so many different options, so don't stop and look for those different options because they're not always going to be given to you, and you have to find them.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I was sitting in that dark dungeon on day two, I did something that paved the way for me to get out of there, and that was I made a decision. Now, the word decision comes from the Latin root de, which means from, and kaidere, which means to cut. When you make a true
Yeah,
decision, you cut off any other possibility. I had no clue how I was going to get out of there, but I just knew I wasn't going to stop. And so
yeah,
about a year and a half in, I realized, I'd read every medical study there was on how to treat a brain injury, every harebrained treatment, everything from amino acids to hyperbaric oxygen. I
yeah,
tried it all. I played stunt pilot with, with it, but
yeah,
I realized that medical science was not going to be able to heal me. And so that was terrifying for me at the time because I
yeah,
had no idea what else,
yeah,
what could. And so I'd been a skeptic my entire life, and out of desperation, I said, "All right, let's see what else is out there." And I
yeah.
started getting into energy medicine and things like that. And lucky for me, I live in California, so I had a lot to choose from. But
Good.
one of the first things I tried was called Reiki, and I told
I
you I had
have
that
heard
bended
of
needle.
this. Yes, I
It
have
is
done.
phenomenal.
I mean, I only ever did one session, and that's
Okay.
because it's not because I didn't like it. My friend, way back when,
Mhm.
was going through getting her Reiki certificate, and she was like, "Hey, I need bodies," and I said, "Well, I'm a body."
Yeah, been there.
Th-
Yeah.
right. This is prior to my massive full body painness. So I mean,
Mhm.
now if I experienced it, it would probably be different than before. But it was kind of interesting. It was kind of neat.
Yeah. You can feel the difference, right?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
obviously very skeptical at first because
Same.
it's
Yeah.
weird, it's
Yeah.
hokey, but there was like afterwards, I'm like, I feel,
I actually
thinking
do
it's
feel
great,
better. What's going on here? Yeah.
right?
For me, I went in that first session and it was like I told you I had that like that pins and needles type feeling in my
Yes.
head. The best description I can give is she took those pins and needles and kind of made them fly in formation, if that makes sense. And I was
It
like,
does not,
whoa,
but I love it.
okay, we'll roll with it then. But
I'll roll
I
with
was
it.
like,
Got no idea, but I'll
yeah,
roll.
I was just like, I was blown away on what, whatever it is you're doing, please do not stop. And so at
Yep.
the end of the session, I asked her, can you show me how to do that? And so
Okay.
spent a couple of days with her, learned Reiki. I went
That's
into pranic
cool.
healing, Qigong, soul holistic faith healing, anything I could find that just, that made me feel better. I just tried to dive in and get good at it. And I really started to turn the tide. Was did a huge amount of healing over the next couple of years, but I just
Yay.
could not shake that light and sound sensitivity. It's just too painful
Mm.
to go out and live life. And so at this point, I'm several years in, I'm thinking, do I have permanent damage here? And
Right? Yeah.
I'd had an MRI, but MRIs look at the tissue. With a brain injury, it doesn't really tell you a lot unless you've really got
Really?
something wrong. Yeah, there's
Oh,
not a
I
lot
would
of
have thought
detail
that
on
was
them. Yeah.
like
My
the
neuro
thing.
told me this after I dumped $1,000 on this thing. He goes,
Ha! Of
well, you
course,
really can't
of
tell a lot from these
course.
things.
Oh, that
I'm
makes
like, well,
sense.
gee, thanks. Thanks for the heads up there, but
Yeah. Oh,
so
Jesus.
I went and found one that was, 5 times more expensive. It's called a SPEC scan done by Dr. Daniel Amen. He's famous in brain circles.
Oh, all right.
He's written a ton of books. He shows a SPEC scan will actually map the electrical activity in the brain, and
Oh,
he showed all
okay.
these scans of like Alzheimer's patients where their MRIs would be normal. With a SPEC scan, it looks like they got a hole in their brain, just areas that aren't activated. And so
Oh, that's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah, it's very cool stuff. So I go in, I get my scan, and long story short, my brain was okay, but areas that were supposed to be dark were lit up like fireworks, and they
Oh,
diagnosed me with PTSD that day. And right
huh.
away, I knew what was going on. With a brain injury, the name of the game was bringing your brain waves down to give your brain a chance to rest and repair itself. My
Huh.
PTSD was keeping me in fight or flight and hijacking the healing process. So I knew if I
Okay.
wanted to beat the brain injury, I had to beat the PTSD first. Yet again, I had no
Huh.
clue how I was going to do that. But
I
I,
this is so interesting. So
okay.
like because the whole thing right now, not right now, I don't know. Anyways, the whole thing right now is that mental health doesn't have a diagnostical test, right? Like it's all
Mhm.
this is what I feel and this is what I think and this is what the doctor thinks maybe you have and let's toss some meds at you or therapy.
Yeah,
Which
been
I am
there
all
too.
for.
Yeah,
Don't get me
yeah.
wrong. If it works, then have
Yes,
at her.
yes.
I love my drugs every night.
Even the ones the
Anti-
doctor prescribed, huh?
Antidepressants, guys, antidepressants. Um, and it's interesting that we have not me. I'm including myself as a doctor right now. But it's interesting that society has found some things like this. What was that certain scan again?
It's called a SPECT, single photon emission computerized tomography,
Oh
for
my
the
gosh.
nerds out there.
I love it. I love it. Um, it's so cool that they have this that they can now see and be like, hey, because it's firing in these ways, this is what's wrong with you. Or,
Yes.
a piece of it, anyways, is very interesting. And it's cool to be a part of the time. So I love the history of mental health. I've done a few shows on certain historical things, and I want to do more. I have research done, guys. I've already got research for schizophrenia and the history of that. I just
Ooh,
haven't
interesting.
recorded it, but how cool is that?
Oh,
Um, anyways, and so it's so cool to say, hey, we are living in a time right now where they are making these discoveries. I think that's so cool because you look at
yes.
the history and it was like, hey, we're just going to lobotomize you. And now
Yeah.
we're like, hey, let's scan your brain and see what's happening right now. I
Yeah.
think it's so cool. So
You would love
cool.
Dr. Amen's books. He's written a ton of them, but he talks
Mm.
all about that. He had a nephew, I think, who the nephew just starts doing just crazy stuff, and
Oh.
found out there was, he had, something growing inside his brain. They had to go in and operate, but
Oh my gosh, it's crazy
yeah,
cool. I like it.
he's done like 100,000 brain scans and just totally changed the field.
Holy
Yeah,
moly.
yeah.
That is excitingly
I actually met him in the
insane.
elevator of his building. Super cool guy.
What?
Yeah, very down to
That's
earth. But yeah,
crazy. Okay.
yeah.
I love it. Okay, so keep going. Keep on. So now
So
we know that we got
anyway,
PTSD and we gotta fix that because that's a
yeah.
problem.
So I was diagnosed that day, and I'd already had several therapists. I tried the meds and all that, and I knew it was not for me. And
Okay.
I'm not saying anything bad about therapy. It's a wonderful tool. Just in my
Everybody's
particular
different.
case, with the therapist I had and the condition I had, it was kind of like a garden hose against the tide. And
I like that. I like that.
but to put it nicely, but anyway, so again, I had no clue how I was gonna, heal myself, but I knew the incredible power of hypnosis from my dad. He had smoked a
Oh.
pack a day for over 30 years and tried over and over again to
Ah,
quit
yes,
using pills,
yes.
patches, gums, you name it. That's one of the toughest addictions there is, right?
Yes, yes. I've heard
One
hypnosis
session,
has worked really well for that stuff.
yes, one session, he told me he never even crave cigarettes again. That's how powerful it is. I was also familiar with neuro linguistic programming, or NLP, from a guy named Tony
Okay.
Robbins.
I've
Tony,
heard that name and I've heard that, but I don't know much about it.
very cool universe to be in. Yeah, people think of him as a rah rah guy. He is actually probably the smartest psychologist I have ever seen. He's got some
Oh,
incredible stuff. But
all right. Very
Tony
cool.
famously had a woman that had 152 different personalities, and he was actually able to integrate her right there on the spot in about 45 minutes. I
That's
that,
insane.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's sane. She started off. That's restoring the sanity.
Well,
I
yes,
not
that is
knowing
true.
not knowing much more than that, I dove in. I got
Wow.
quadruple certified in hypnosis and NLP and all that, and I asked every
Wow.
instructor I had the exact same question. How do you heal PTSD? And
Yes.
they all tried to help me, but none of them really had the answer. And so,
Yeah.
back to the internet, and I spent the next 2.5 years just binging every course, every book, everything I could find on both
Wow.
topics, and I fell in love. This stuff I love geeking out on it, if you couldn't tell, but it just
Yep, yep.
fascinates me. Just the power of the mind is just incredible.
It is. It's
But
so nuts in a good
yeah,
way.
yeah, it's I over the that 2.5 years, I put together a protocol very gradually that I was able to heal myself. And
What kind of things did that include?
it a lot of the first step is always bringing down fight or flight. So you do that by dealing with the memories, just
Hmm.
taking that emotional sting from them, changing the way you play them. Um,
Yes.
there's also a process I do with people called timeline therapy, where your timeline is just how your subconscious processes time. So there was a
Okay.
time before you knew what anger was, or sadness, or fear, or guilt.
Mm.
We can go back to that time, and where you're free from that and be able to clear it.
Ah.
Things like that. There, different hypnotic exercises, things like that. Just bringing down that stress response, and from that point, that's when we can do real change work, because when your guard's up all the time,
Mm-hmm.
then it's very hard to change. Your brain's
Yes.
constantly fighting you.
Yes.
That's probably a big part of why my therapy didn't work. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know
And
it is
it's,
now, but
I mean, there's so many different types of therapy out there. So, I mean, if the first one doesn't work for you, try again. Or, like you
keep
said,
trying.
try something else.
Yes.
Um, I say that because, so I've done a few different, so I did CBT first, and
Hmm.
that was for a different problem.
Hmm.
And then I did something else for a different problem. But when it came to my PTSD, we did DBT, so
Oh,
dialectical behavior therapy. And that's very similar to what you're saying, right? Like taking those memories. So we did this whole big work, but oh my gosh, it was so much. It was so much. And there was so much crying. But
okay.
you would take the memories and the emotions and figure out how to change them and change your perspective so they didn't hold that power over you. And for me it worked
Hmm.
great. So, try again for whatever might
Yes.
work, whether it's therapy or the hypnosis or whatever. But that's very, yeah, it's very interesting when it's taking that and shifting that perspective of what's happening.
Yeah, NLP is all about all right, those memories, how do you play them? All right, do you get a picture, a sound, or a feeling? Those, geek speak, that's called our visual, auditory, kinesthetic
Yep.
modalities. So, all right, for about 80% of people, it's going to be a picture. All right, where do you play that picture? To the right, to the left, above you, below you? How big is it? How bright? Color, black and white,
Hmm.
flat or 3D? We go through this, the laundry list, and really get you tuned into those subconscious processes, which is super critical, because
Yeah.
your subconscious controls up to 95% of everything you do by age 30. And that the example I like to give for this is driving a car. If you think back to the first
Yeah.
time you ever drove one, your hands were 10 and 2, you're super focused on not hitting anything. You had to.
Yes.
Fast forward a few years, you got coffee in one hand, cell phone in the other. You know what I mean? I'm kidding. Please do not do that. But
Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
How
But
did
I do.
something that-
You get bad habits because you get so used to it. Because
Yes.
your subconscious, you just do.
because you train your subconscious to do that over and over again. So, very cool process for driving, makes it automatic, but bad things happen when you teach it the things you don't want, bad habits, negative emotions, limiting beliefs, things like that. When those programs get in there and your subconscious mind does not think, it does not reason. It's a giant supercomputer. It just runs programs, whatever's in there.
Yes.
And,
Okay.
hypnosis and NLP are, the most powerful toolkits I've seen as far as, going in and rewriting those programs. So it's just a matter of A, getting awareness of what's going on, and then B, going in and rewriting those things.
Okay.
But I forget where I was in my story, but
See, I told you.
your
So,
questions are so much more interesting though.
right? So it's funny, guys. So before we got started, Matt was like, "Oh, I've got about this 5-minute story that'll explain everything if you want me to ramble." I'm like,
Here we
"Well,
are,
you
20
can.
minutes in.
However, this is how the show goes. I'm going to interrupt you, and we're just going to have fun."
I'm just trying to save your listeners some time here, but
Oh, that's not a thing. That is not a thing we do here. This is the joy of having that neurodiverse brain where we're just going to do 10 conversations at once, and we're going to, we're just going to share and see where we go.
it's actually my favorite kind of conversation. Yeah, I like the side alleys. Yeah, it's fun.
Right? That's what makes us fun here. A little bit different from those pre thought out interviews, which they are good for those people, but they're not that. So you were talking about doing the PTSD, like not doing it. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Doing the PTSD thing and changing the way that you thought. Then we got off the track. So that's where we're at in your story.
We were talking about my favorite stuff, subconscious.
Yes, we're talking about that.
One of the things I like to show people, if you don't mind, doing a quick experiment. Imagine biting.
We've done some of those on here. I love it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Imagine for a second biting into a big juicy lemon. Right.
We have to close our eyes to do it. Just
okay.
Because
if you're not driving, if you can do so safely.
If you're not driving, yes. You can do so safely.
It'll work even with your eyes open, just not quite.
I know,
as well.
but I'm visual and I want everyone to do
it.
I want to see if they listen.
So imagine crushing that lemon between your teeth. Feel that juice squirt in your mouth. Now, did you start to salivate just a little?
I didn't salivate, but I went all scrunchy face.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you had a reaction, right?
Yes, there was a reaction.
Where's the lemon?
What do you mean? Oh.
Only in your imagination, right? You just had a physiological response with nothing but a thought, right?
Yep.
We do the same thing all day, every day without, a lot of times without even recognizing it. That pit in your stomach, the tightness in your chest when you get stressed, the ache in your back, your subconscious controls all that. It controls everything in your body. You don't have to think about your breathing, heartbeat, body temperature, how much insulin you crave after a meal, you name it. It's running the show. And so that's why, things like hypnosis can work so well for like pain control, like you were talking about that.
Right. Yes. It's all in your head.
Yeah. It's controlled by your head.
And not in like a rude way, not in that it's all in your head, but
No,
like it's all in your head
in a
because your
way.
brain is literally, and like I talked about burning the nerves. Well, the reason you burn the nerves is so that your brain doesn't go, there's pain down there. It's all like, it's all connected.
Right. And pain is a signal that there's something wrong and you need to go get it checked out, right?
Yes.
But if your doctor's checked it out and said, oh yeah, you've got this condition and here's some pain meds and have a nice life, but it's still not working, that's when something like hypnosis can really it's life-changing for some people. And it's just like the lemon trick. I have one for stress if you'd like to try it.
Let's do it.
This works for just about anything. It can work for pain too, if you'd like to try it on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. Let's do
emotion, anything like that. We'll go with stress because everybody
has that.
So think about, something that stresses you out. It could be an overdue bill or a conversation you don't want to have, whatever that might be. Notice where you feel that in your body. Point to it.
I'm thinking.
Okay. I can see that, but
I'm thinking. I'm pondering. It's like it's just
now in your mind's eye, again, closing your eyes if you're, if you can do so safely, in your mind's eye, if that feeling had a color, what color would it be? First impression.
red.
Good. Is there more than one color?
No.
Okay, good. All right, that red color, if it had a shape, what shape would it be? First impression.
It's like an oblong rectangle, but just not properly shaped rectangle.
Okay.
Like a rhombus.
Oblong, improperly shaped rectangle.
Like
All
a
right.
rhombus.
The red oblong. Okay. If it were moving, what direction would it be turning? If it's hard to tell, try turning it one way than the other. See what feels more natural.
It's like flipping over itself.
Okay. Try turning it the opposite way and see what happens.
No, it doesn't want to.
It doesn't want to. Okay.
It doesn't want to.
Try it. Can you change the direction of it at all?
I can, but it feels weird.
Okay, yeah. Try it. See what that does to the feeling.
So
It
weird.
will feel weird at first, but that's a good thing in a lot of cases.
Okay.
If your normal sucks, then weird is going to be good, right?
It's true. Yes, I agree.
So, all right. Notice what that does to the feeling. Now, find the direction that feels best for you, whatever that is. Everybody's different. It's like a fingerprint. You just got to find what works best for your nervous system. And if you would like to, you can spin it up in that new direction, kind of amp up that new feeling while you drain all the color right out of it. Just make it totally transparent in there.
Okay.
And then fill it back up with whatever color you like.
Purple.
Yeah, cool. Some people like gold or pink, green, blue, purple, whatever you like. Now, still spinning it in your favorite color, your new direction. Try adding sparkle to it and watch it start to swirl throughout like a candy cane or one of those poles in front of a barber shop.
Okay.
Now, did that change the feeling at all?
Well, I wasn't focused on the other thing. I was focused on doing what you were telling me to do.
Okay,
so I'm going to say yes.
Give me the benefit of the doubt there. Huh? Okay. So next time you're in pain or stressed out or anything like that, try that trick. Just, find the spin it the opposite way, drain the color, and fill it back up, add sparkle. But that trick right there is incredibly powerful for all kinds of, emotions, pains, you name it. But it works really well. What we're doing is we're taking that thing called stress or pain or whatever that is for you that your nervous system is doing, and we're giving it a visual component. We gave it a color, a shape, a spin, all that. Once we do that, we can start to play with it and tell your nervous system, hey, let's do it a new way. And it sounds woo-woo or whatnot, but it really does work. It's really powerful for people.
Woo-woo isn't always bad.
No. Like I said, I used to be a total skeptic. I do not rule things out now because I've seen enough woo-woo stuff come true. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I will at least give, I'll give anything the benefit of the doubt these days.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, nice. All right, so we have some tools, some real life tools, because we did experiments today. Yes, we haven't done one in a while. And then, okay, so you've learned some different things, worked on your PTSD. Clearly that's helped you come out of your cave.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. About 6 months after I think I, healed myself, I healed the brain injury too. And just because, again, my brain was finally able to, relax and heal itself. So, I've lived, pretty much a normal life, relatively speaking for me, but
what is normal?
Yeah, exactly. It's different for everybody.
It totally is. Oh, that is very exciting. And so now that you are living a normal life, what kind of tools do you continue to use to maintain that semblance of normalcy?
I don't use them on myself a lot anymore. A lot of it's kind of like a habit. Once you change the habit, the new one's pretty much ingrained.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But NLP, hypnosis and all, NLP you drill it, a few times. I tell people, 7 times will create a new habit, whatever. So you feel that stress
Yep.
come up, unspin it, all that. Do that 7 times in a row, and you'll more than likely create a new habit. Hypnosis tends to be a one and done type thing.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll have to go back and do, a follow up or something like that, but
Yeah.
it's fairly rare. It's usually, again, it was like my dad with the smoking. It's getting in and changing those subconscious programs, which, you
Okay.
make a small change down deep, and the ripple effect on the surface, can be enormous. It seems like miracles, but in reality, it's not. It's dealing with those behaviors, those programs where they live.
It's perfect. I love it. Love it.
Thank you.
So I like to pose a random question at the end here. Well, sort of
Sure.
random. What piece of wisdom would you share with somebody who has went to a whole bunch of doctors and gotten the I can't help you?
First of all, decide where do you want to get, where do you want to be. I tell people you only get so many trips around the sun. So, looking back, sitting, in your rocking chair at 100 years old, what life do you want to be looking back on, right? And then start to reverse engineer it from there. All right, what do I need to do today, this week, this month, this year in order to make that happen? If you're facing, some kind of challenge, mental, physical, I had all the above.
Yes.
Step one is just decide, and you've got to get that vision clear in your mind, of where you're going, and keep it there. That's
Ooh, keeping it there is tricky.
that's the hard part, definitely. I
Yeah.
had the benefit, I talked about my dad a little bit before. He got in a bad accident when I was a kid, and I saw him, towards the end of his life, just he was, I don't blame him at all, because his life was pretty bad at the time, but he let the negativity kind of get the better of him, and so I saw him kind of circle around the drain, and so I knew right away when I was sitting in that dungeon that I had to keep my mind where I was going. And when you do that, just the power of your mind is absolutely incredible. If you've read The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton, he talks about beliefs can reprogram our DNA, literally controlling what genes are switched on or off. Way back in the day, Dr. Bernie Siegel from Yale did really fascinating research with multiple
I know
personality
that
disorder.
name too, Siegel. That sounds
He's
familiar.
famous. He's written a ton of books, but
Okay, maybe
he
that's
saw
why I know
patients
the name.
he saw patients' eye color literally change, going from brown to blue and back. Scars, physical markings, conditions like high blood pressure would disappear and reappear depending on what personality is coming through. I mean, that is the power of your
Right,
mind.
yeah.
And we've
Yes.
all heard of the placebo effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drug makers are legally required to test for it. It's been shown to have up to 70% cure rate in clinical drug trials. A lot of times better than the drug they're actually testing, but just the belief that they're getting something that helps can,
Yeah.
a lot of times can clear whatever it is, or at least help whatever
Yeah.
condition there. It's just, that's how powerful your mind is. Now, that power can be negative or work against you, or you can harness
Yeah.
it. You get, your subconscious on your side, and you can do incredible things that way.
That is awesome. And yes, there's so much to that. I love, and I mean this is sort of off topic, but sort of on topic. I love movies about multiple personalities because I
Oh,
find the actors are just, generally speaking, they are just so good at it. Now, obviously, the ones I'm talking about are completely far-fetched because I'm not talking about nonfiction. I'm not talking about true story ones. I'm talking about like horror movies and stuff. But I
okay,
love watching
okay.
the actors transform like in a split of a second
I
from
could
one to
see
the
that.
next. Like it's just so cool to watch. It would be
Yeah.
horrific and very scary to live, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Or to love somebody with that. I think that would be very scary for, because you want the best for them. But it's so interesting to watch, like, make-believe ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine that would be hard to prepare for as an actor, because
Right?
it's not just
That's
one character. Yeah.
right. And that's why I have so much respect for those ones, because the ones that do it well, you're like, damn,
Yeah.
you're amazing.
Yeah.
And the ones that do it bad, well, go get a new job, I guess. Um, all right. right, so it is your time to talk, like you haven't been doing the whole time, but to promote whatever it is that you are promoting right now. What is
Okay.
happening?
You can go to my site, mattjohnsonnlp.com. That's MATTJOHNSONNLP for neurolinguistic programming. I have a free mini course up there. It's called Calm on Command, where we do the unspinning like we just did a few minutes ago.
Oh.
And we deal with a lot of the causes of stress in your life, negative thoughts, things like that. And I give you hypnosis at the end where we actually go in and basically dissolve the stress and the crap you're carrying around in your body. But very powerful program. I'm giving it away for free, so definitely check it out. But
Nice.
yeah, and you can find everything I'm doing up there.
Amazing. I love that. So where do they follow you?
I'm on Facebook mostly. I have an NLP group called Rewire and Rise.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Rewire and Rise. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And also now send me some sunshine. Thanks. That'd be great.
I will.
And of course, thank you everybody for listening. Remember to share these episodes out because we talk about such important topics. And I mean, especially this episode, because we did an experiment and I love it when we do those things. It's fun and unique. So share these out. Hit the like and subscribe because we are over 300 and we want to keep on growing on that YouTube and other places if you're on the podcast and stuff. It's analytics and stuff. But hit that button, share them out, and remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly. Bye!